Hey, so it's not Reviews Day Tuesday, this is a message to you. I'm not going to be here on Tuesday, I'm going to be on holiday in Pembroke. So today is Reviews Day Thursday. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Fault in Our Stars movie. This is the book, obviously. So The Fault in Our Stars is a book that's about some spoilers. There's going to be spoilers. And they are talking about the inevitability of death and the wonder of life and the shortness of some infinities and all that. If you want to know more, read the book. Or watch the film, because that was just as spectacular. And I have to say that of all of the books that have been made into films, it was one of the best that I've ever seen. So it really did justice to the book. It had all of the perfect moments in it. They'd cut out scenes that obviously weren't necessary. It was beautiful and heartbreaking, and I hated it, but I loved it, and it was just everything. So in spite of how great it was, some parts weren't as believable as they were in the book. Some parts were obviously more believable, but there were scenes like the kissing scene, which was just a little bit too weird. I'm not sure if it was meant to be really strange because it was in a strange place. The journey from the bottom of the building all the way up to the attic in the Anne Frank house was perfect. She didn't want to make a scene, but she was obviously in pain, and it was really brilliantly acted. The girl who plays Hazel does it absolutely perfectly, and the whole scene was brilliant. Up until the attic scene where the kiss is just kind of weird, and they're in a really small space with a lot of people who are all suddenly applauding, and it's like, this is not a show, it's just some kids kissing. And I found that any other time in the film that they kissed, I felt it was awkward and kind of weird that I was watching people kiss, and I was really uncomfortable about it, much like you are at the start when you see Isaac and his soon-to-be ex-girlfriend kissing. It's weird, and it's kind of like, oh, this is making me uncomfortable, make it stop, no kissing in public please. And it's a lot like that in the Anne Frank house, and I found that the applauding was weird and unnecessary, and I felt like it worked a lot better in the book than it did in the film. So another thing that was weird was the sex scene, and I felt that was equally awkward because it was a bit like watching a snippet of porn film in the middle of a normal film. I don't know, it needed to be in there obviously, and it wasn't like I was uncomfortable with the idea of sexual things, but I was uncomfortable with the idea of watching two characters that I'd come to be joined with in feels doing that, and it was strange. I don't know how I felt about it, but it was weird. It was a bit too romantic, and it kind of juxtaposed with the restaurant scene, and I guess I just didn't really understand the dynamic and the way that those two scenes worked together. I mean, the bit afterwards was fun when they got a bit uncomfortable in front of her mum because stuff had happened, but I don't know, I just felt that was a bit of a weird thing in the film that I have to point out. If you felt the same, comment below and we'll talk about it, because I don't really know what I feel or how I feel, but I know I feel. I kind of thought that the restaurant scene would be set slightly outside of the restaurant and rather not in this sort of closed space with lots of other people. I thought it would be a lot more like just them on their little table by the canal having fun talk and drinking wine and all the stuff that does happen in that scene, but with less interaction between them and the waiter. And I thought maybe they'd give some of the lines that the waiter had to Hazel or to Gus to make it more them connecting on a new level. And yeah, I don't know, I just thought that scene was a bit too here and there, and it was very sort of, what is happening right now? But again, juxtaposing this completely and changing my mood about the film, Van Helsing was perfect. He was like every sort of perfect. Like in the book, I didn't really believe that he could be a real person, but then the film, oh my gosh, it opened my eyes. I felt like he was suddenly a real person. Just everything about him was perfect. I've never seen such good casting. I'm definitely being overly dramatic now. He was just the best, and at the end where he showed up at the funeral, he didn't make a scene, it wasn't a big thing, he was just a guy that was there, and it was, everything about it was perfect. I felt like the conflict between him and Hazel in the car where she's upset and he's just trying to make her happy again. That just, my heart. The whole movie was perfect. I couldn't have hoped for a better ending to a better movie than that one, because they didn't draw it out too much. They ended it where it should have ended, and they didn't make it a huge thing. They didn't swap any of the scenes around to make it more dramatic. They didn't make any of the characters too much or too little. It was all just beautiful and poignant and heartbreaking and perfect, and I loved every second of it. So this has been Reviews Day Thursday, and all the feels. If you disagree with me or agree with any of the things that I've said in this video, please comment below, like and subscribe. I will be back the Tuesday after next.